everyone, and welcome to In the Warzone. I'm your host, Warzone Prez, here with episode 2 of my show. This week I'm going to be doing a little bit of video game history. I'm going to talk about the Sega Master System. I don't necessarily own the system. It's one of the few that I haven't got my hands on yet. However, the games and gameplay are pretty much the same as the Sega Game Gear, so I'll get into a little bit on that during the show. Also, before I even get to that, I'm going to give you a little tour of my underground bunker, just to give you an idea of how big a gamer I am and what I'm into, what I'm about, so that you guys get a good idea of my background. And we'll also talk about any of the email and letters that I've received about the top 10 list, about last week's show, and whatnot. So without further ado, let me start cutting to the chase and give you the grand tour of my wonderful underground bunker. Well, as you can see, I have an illustrious collection of video games stemming back as far as the Atari 2600 and the Intellivision. Got movies, DVDs, PSP games over on the side there, Blu-ray movies, PS3, Wii, N64, NES, SNES, Genesis, PlayStation, Dreamcast, PS2, GameCube. As you can see, I've got all my systems lined up. They were all hooked up, including my my pride and joy, the Intellivision game system right there. Everything's set up and organized, controllers, whatnot. And just to give you an idea that I am serious about my gaming. I know a lot about gaming history. I've done my research. And this is it. This is the underground bunker. And of course my computer terminal where I do my my shows for All Digital Radio Network with Skeeter on the Gamer's Playpen. Alright, and now on to our feature segment, the Sega Master System. I can't begin talking about the Sega Master System until I give you a little bit of background on Sega Corporation, who used to be known by Sega Enterprises Limited. They started off in 1940 in Honolulu, Hawaii, as a small company making coin ops for the military station there to kind of relax and play some games and whatnot. But eventually, by the 70s, much like Nintendo, Atari, and a bunch of these brand new video game and coin-operated machine companies began making home consoles. By 1983, Sega released its first video game console titled the SG-1000. This was kind of like a beginning system, really, like I said, released roughly around, unfortunately, the time of the video game market crash, which kind of caused Sega to start hemorrhaging money. There wasn't really a lot of support in the States for video games at the time because of the crash. So when Sega marketed the Master System in 1986, it wasn't really a big hit in the United States, even though its graphics and so forth were superior to the Nintendo's. The NES, Nintendo's marketing strategy was just that much better that Sega really didn't make that much of a killing here. In other parts of the world it did great. In Japan it did fairly well, but in parts of the world like Brazil, the Master System and even the Genesis are still widely manufactured in some form by Tech Toys, who handled all the marketing and console construction and whatnot down there in Brazil. and people down there still love their games, and to this day, they're even making portable systems and built-in game systems that still play the original Master System and Genesis or Mega Drive games. But getting back to the Master System, like I said, it was released in the States in 1986. It was basically the third prototype of video game console manufactured by Sega after the SG-1000. It played both standard cartridge games as well as these games that were on little game cards. The game cards were kind of like a marketing strategy. If you buy the cards, they're cheaper than buying a full game. But the drawback is these cards couldn't hold a lot of information, so the games were kind of but it allowed someone who didn't have a lot of money to go out and buy video games and not have to worry about spending tons of money on game cartridges. One of their early hits for the Master System, who eventually became their mascot, Alex Kidd, they started actually packaging it with the next version of the Master System that they released. They released like a second version that didn't take the game cards but had Alex Kidd built into the system to kind of counter the whole Super Mario Brothers crave that was going on during the late 80s thanks to Nintendo and the NES. And he was actually Sega's mascot until about 1991 when the Genesis or Mega Drive took over, and they had Sonic the Hedgehog, which was one of the Mega Drive's final releases. He became their brand new mascot from then on. The Mega Drive was considered their 8-bit system. Graphics and processors and whatnot are comparable to that of Game Gear. In fact, a lot of the games you see on the Game Gear were pretty much direct ports from the Master System. Compatibility issues. The Mega Drive, when it first came out, the Genesis, they created one of the first backwards compatible adapters. This allowed the Genesis to play the Master System's games with the help of a special cartridge adapter. The bad part about this is future editions of the Genesis 2 and definitely the Genesis 3, you are not able to use the adapter with, and in certain parts of the world, rather, the adapter cartridge was very limited in manufacture, so it's kind of a rare item to find. I believe the Japanese version or the European version, I don't remember offhand which one, also had the card slot for the original cards to play in. But like I said, the Master System's still widely popular in Brazil. I recently came across one of the Master System's original light blaster guns. I guess they modeled their light blaster after a popular cartoon over in Japan. I almost picked one up for $5 the other day. It's very, very similar to the NES's Light Zapper. It's motion sensing. It was used for maybe 2 or 3 games that I'm aware of. They also had for the original Master System these 3D glasses that plugged into the card slot, so you couldn't use them with the second. Alright, sorry, I had a little bit of a technical difficulty there while I was talking about the Master System. My camera went on the fritz. Greatly apologize. I was in the middle of talking about the Master System's 3D glasses. There were these 3D glasses. They plugged into both the cartridge slot as well as the controller port, as well as the card slot on the original Master System, which of course wouldn't work with the Master System 2. But this allowed you to play certain games with a sort of 3D effect. There were 3D games prior to that for the SG-1000 that used a similar kind of periscope design. The way I think of it, it looks it would be more along the lines of, say, the Virtual Boy, where you had like a visor that you would put on. But those were pretty much the standard peripherals for the Master System, in addition to standard controllers, which, by the way, resembled that of the NES, with the exception of there was no start or select button. Your start button was actually considered your A and B, or 1 or 2 buttons, which, if you look on the Game Gear, you have pretty much the same button setup. Well, that pretty much concludes my coverage of the Master System. If you're lucky enough to get one of these things, feel free to drop me an email and let me know, because I'm definitely interested in looking for one of these myself. I do own a Genesis, as you saw earlier, so one of those adapters might not be so bad. I'm also looking into getting one of those portable machines that they make for the Genesis games that they've been making recently, and want to see how well it holds up, and how the compatibility issues are with current Genesis games. Look at me saying current. But once I get my hand on one of those things, I'll definitely do a review and cover it on this show. Not sure what I'm going to talk about next week. Hopefully, I'll be covering either the history of Sega Enterprises, which during my research of the Master System, I learned a great deal about the origins of Sega, which is actually pretty interesting. And I'll either cover that, or perhaps some other great moment in video game history. But until next week, this is the Warzone Prez. Don't forget to listen to the Gamers Playpen Monday nights, 11 p.m. on the All Digital Radio Network. Me and Skeet will always have something good planned for you. So until next time, game over.